Welcome, everybody, to this week's Movies, Music, and Mayhem. I am your host, Rachel Silvestrini, as always. For anybody who hasn't been here before, it's been about a year, and it's been quite a journey. I'm so excited to have this guest on. We tried to get him on earlier this year. Plans fell through. Shit happens, guys. But I'm so excited to get him back. This is somebody that I've known only through emails. The first time we've talked literally was like 10 minutes ago. I'm so excited for this, guys. It is Skybound's own Ryan Matsunaga. Yeah! Did I say that right?
Yeah, pretty close.
Okay.
Close enough.
What is the pronunciation?
Matsunaga, you got it. That's close enough.
Because somebody with my last name also, people just butcher it, and I'm like, it's sweet.
We can commiserate on that.
That's good enough. Now, see, I use my last name as a sobriety test. If I can say it and spell it correctly, I know I'm fine.
Fair enough.
I've also used it as an ID for the hotels that I checked into that I've lost my keys to. They're like, what's your last name? I'm like, Silvestrini. I can spell it because I don't have my ID. They're like, oh, you can spell this? I'm like, yeah.
It's a good security feature.
It is. It's kind of nice. It's one of those, like, if I ever get married, I'm never changing my last name. Just because it's, like, nice to have that there. Absolutely. But how you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me on the show. I know it's been quite a journey. I think it's 3 months to get this together. And that makes it sound like it was mutual. This is all my fault. Not being able to make the time. So I appreciate you being patient with me and getting me on here.
I mean, patience is not a virtue I possess, but it worked out beautifully and it's totally fine. I'm so glad to bring you on. For those who don't know, Ryan works for Skybound. Now, what exactly do you do for Skybound?
That's if you can tell me that, I'd appreciate it because I'm not even sure.
I just know that I receive your emails.
That's fair. That's mostly my job. It's just emails. Emails and meetings is essentially my day. But my formal title there is Senior Manager of Global Marketing, and that doesn't really mean anything. So it's pretty much just marketing operations in a pretty wide variety of verticals that Skybound has. And not to get all businessy lingo, but Skybound being a very multifaceted transmedia company, they're doing movie stuff, TV stuff, comic books, board games, the Schmodown, of course. So just a lot of different kind of marketing initiatives and campaigns and all of the many verticals that Skybound operates. God, that sounded really gross, like a synergy.
we synergize analogies and analyze synergies.
I swear I have a real job. I'm not a parody.
The title sounds super impressive, at least. So
I appreciate that.
It's one of those things you put on a business card and you hand out it to somebody you just met. You're like, yeah, I'm a senior vice president, whatever.
Oh, vice president now. Okay. Ooh. Getting a promotion live on the air. Appreciate that.
Why not? I can do that, right? I have that with
like
that's written into my contract with Schmodown. Okay, cool.
Special Schmodown powers.
I mean, when you're around for 4 years, that's what you get, right?
You get one random promotion on air per year. So I appreciate you wasting that on me.
Done. Now, so where did you grow up? Because we don't know. I know a lot of people know who you are, but not a lot of people know who you are. So where did you grow up?
So I was born in Torrance, California, but before I was 1, we moved to Virginia. So I'm an East Coast kid. I grew up in Virginia I think we moved back when I was 10 or 11 years old. My dad's job changed, so we actually moved right back to LA. So we kind of just bounced back and forth between the two coasts. But I grew up in Virginia and then kind of spent the rest of my life since then in the LA area.
Nice. We're in Virginia.
Fairfax.
Oh,
a little tip there.
I'm sure that you and Ellis have talked about Virginia at great length.
We haven't. Wow. Now I have a new topic to bring up with them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. If memory serves me correct, I think that's the area that he grew up in as well.
Oh, right on. That's cool. Nice little connection there.
I mean,
haven't been back in a lot of years.
It's one of those things that even if you don't even have to dig that deep to find connections with people in the Schmodown. It's really fascinating. Okay, so you grew up on the East Coast. What was your favorite thing about the East Coast and growing up over there?
In retrospect, I know this is a very stereotypical answer, but it's the snow. You don't appreciate it until it's gone. I love California, but marching all the way up to Big Bear or something to get a little snow is not always the most convenient option. And as a kid, certainly snow days were everything. We lived at the bottom, this little cul-de-sac area, but it was at the bottom of a quarter-mile hill. So it was the most incredible sledding experience that you could ever ask for. So that's never gonna have that again.
I remember watching movies like Snow Days when I was younger and just being like, stupid East Coast kids get snow days and get to go out and have fun.
Yeah,
It's like
you
we have
really
to
don't
sit in a
appreciate
car
it till
for
it's
4 hours in order to enjoy snow. Like nobody
gone.
wants that.
Do miss that, and the backyard too was nice. When we moved to California, didn't quite have we had this almost like a forest in the backyard, this kind of overgrown thicket. I guess in retrospect, it probably wasn't that much larger, it probably wasn't that huge of a yard, but as a kid, it felt like a wonderland to go explore. So that kind of semi-rural nature of things, I do miss that a little bit.
Plus, it's a really beautiful area. I've been in Fairfax before, and
Mm,
it is absolutely stunning. Like it's everything you think it is, just tall trees and beautiful houses, and it's so nice. Like
yeah.
it's so perfectly East Coast. Um, now, while growing up, did you ever get to enjoy like all of the fun and excitement that DC offered?
A little bit here and there. My dad's job took him to DC a lot. He worked in kind of quasi-government agencies, so we're once in a while we'd go over to DC, sometimes see the Smithsonian or something like that. So pretty fond memories of the area. I think I've actually explored DC more as an adult, kind of on trips and whatnot. But certainly some fond memories of the museums down there.
Yeah, I think my favorite. I mean, the Smithsonian and everything that's there is so beautiful. But I think my favorite museum there is the Spy Museum.
There's a spy museum?
Oh my God,
Why did I not know that?
you've never been to the Spy
I've
Museum?
never even heard of the spy museum.
Okay, first of all, the next time you go to okay, so we're putting this on the books now. We have to do a live event in DC, so we can all go and just get a little bit drunk and then go to the Spy Museum because it's so much fun. They have these like tunnels that you can climb through that are supposed to be like you're climbing through like the ducts of like a building, and like you can go on this adventure, and it shows you all these cool like spy tricks that they used to use in like the 40s and 50s during like the World War I and World War II. It's so fascinating.
New item on the bucket list. Certainly interested in checking that out.
It's really, really fun. It was right around the corner from a museum at the time that was showing like the cars from James Bond.
Never been to that one either.
I mean,
Realizing now that maybe I missed a lot of museums in DC.
I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of like quintessential DC museums that you have to go to. Like, you know, I've been there probably 7 or 8 times now because of my touring and traveling and stuff like that. So like we had days off, so you would go to a museum a day, and like it was so much fun. But yeah, definitely I like the offbeat ones, the offbeat museums and stuff like that. Yes, the International Spy Museum. Thank you, Saul. It is absolutely entertaining. And so much fun, which reminds me, guys, if you have any questions for me and Ryan, just throw them in the Streamlabs. We'll ask them on. I mean, be nice, but yes, there are some things we can't talk about because it's Shimodan. Because I have a fan next to me, and it is so hot up here that I'm just pulling my best Charlie's Angels Farrah Fawcett.
Cool effect. It's very dramatic.
Constantly, just I just naturally have a breeze on me at all times. And I forgot to close my window before this. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. So did you grow up going to concerts, or were you a big like music fan growing up? Because I know that like the East Coast has like you have access to a ton of amazing venues, or you did anyways before they closed.
So not too much. I was only in Virginia till I was about 10 or 11, but coming to California, certainly got into concerts a lot more often. I think LA obviously has a phenomenal concert scene. So I think exploring in like later life, exploring in my adult life, some of the venues around LA has been a treat.
What's been your favorite venue in LA so far?
That's a good question. Would it be a cheat if I said the Pantages because I got to see Hamilton there?
No, I have a love affair with that place. It is so wonderful and so beautiful. I also I worked at the Pantages a lot, so
oh, cool.
I love the crew. Yeah, I used to tour with Broadway musicals, and we would play the Pantages a lot, and it was amazing and so much fun. That crew there is just like literally top notch. They're the best human beings, and I miss going to see shows there so much.
They're opening back up, I think, right?
I know. My Facebook is starting to flood with like posts of like a friend of mine sells merchandise on the Frozen tour, and it's been everything of theirs of the Frozen tour has been locked in the Keller Auditorium in Portland, Oregon for the last 15 and a half months. And they posted photos today of like them loading everything out because they're going to start touring back in next in September. And I'm just like, I want to get back out on the road. Like, let me help you. Let me load those boxes. I miss all the random bruises and cuts from cardboard. But so did you see any like concerts at the Pantages? Or are you more of a concert person, or are you more of like a stage performance type of guy?
So this is going to be reveal my dweeb card live on air, but I don't do a lot of band concerts. I listen to a lot of classical music, so I think seeing stuff at like the Walt Disney Concert Hall and things like that is most of my live music experience. So bit of a dork, but that's generally speaking the kind of live events that I tend to go to.
That's pretty awesome, though. I mean, and lately they've been doing some really cool like live orchestrations with like you know going to like the Disney Concert Hall and going and seeing like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, but with like a live orchestra playing the score for you, which is so much fun. They did that with what else did they do that with? Game of Thrones and stuff like that.
Right before the pandemic hit, we got to see Parasite at the Arrow. They did a live scoring of Parasite at the Arrow Theater, which was a real treat. The composer showed up to play the credits song as well, so it was a really incredible experience.
I mean, it's just kind of things that like it costs a lot to live in LA, but it also pays off in weird ways like that.
Right,
like,
right.
You're like, yeah, I went to go see Pantages, and the composer showed up, and he got to play. Like, it's all right.
My best LA concert moment of all time was a live scoring of the Nightmare Before Christmas, and Danny Elfman orchestrated. So he showed up at the end to do a reunion of Oingo Boingo for one song, which was like absolutely killed me.
Oh my God, that's amazing
night.
Are you a big Oingo Boingo fan?
I think I'm a bigger Danny Elfman fan, but certainly that's a part of the parcel.
Yeah, I remember going and seeing Nightmare Before Christmas at El Capitan, and just being there and hearing the scores of my favorite movies being played on like that old school organ before the movie was just so much fun. Now, do you have a favorite score that you go back to again and again?
All time.
Or handful, whatever you want.
I think I'd probably have to go with The Fountain by Clint Mansell. It's just a really powerful score to me. I love the movie, but the score is something I return to like on a weekly basis. Just a really evocative score.
Do you play that like just in the background of your everyday life, or do you just like make it a moment to like sit down and listen to it like very consciously?
It's a great piece to write to. It's a little dramatic, so that might kind of infuse your writing with a little bit too much gravitas if you're going for something else. But I think it's great for focusing and for writing and creating.
Yeah, I used to put on like when we read books in like high school and stuff like that. I would always put on classical music in the background to read to, because for some reason it helped me absorb. I had a favorite with Vivaldi's Four Seasons.
Classic.
That piece of music I don't know what it is. It just really makes me happy.
Sure.
And like every time I hear it in like movies or on soundtracks, I'm like, oh, that's Vivaldi. It makes me feel like I sound really smart.
Well, if I can ask, since you're a big musical theater person, as things are opening up again, what's the next show that I should be keeping my eye on? It could be a returning show, it could be a new show. What's the first thing I need to buy tickets for?
I mean, at this point, everything. Just buy every ticket you can. Like, I'm honest. Like,
fair enough.
I mean, personally, if I can go see every show that shows up, I don't care how many times I've seen it or what my opinion is of it. I'm gonna go see it because A, I probably have friends in the cast or in the crew, and B, like I've just been so deprived of live theater because I used to have it in my life 8 times a week for 7 years, and it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I think it was last year, right before Hamilton was released on Disney Plus. Lin-Manuel Miranda went on Twitter a half hour before, and he tweeted out something like, everyone, this is your half hour call, everyone. And I was like, I just started breaking into tears. I was sobbing in bed at like 11:30 at night. And I was just like, I miss that so much. Like I miss the bell in the lobby to tell you to get to your seats. Like it was just, it just all came out. But I know Frozen's coming back out, so I would definitely go see that because it's Disney and they put so much work into it, and I know the transformations are actually magical. What else? Like, I don't even know what's coming back out though, is the thing. I know well, who else is? I mean, Wicked's going back out. Wicked's always fun. I mean, not just because I'm wearing an Elphaba shirt. It is my only, like, sadly, only Pride shirt that I own, but happy Pride anyways.
Happy Pride.
Yeah. Literally at this point, just go see everything. It's I don't think that there's anything that's coming out on the road that I would be like, you can miss that. Because at this point, we've been so deprived of art,
right,
that hasn't taken place within the four walls of our house. Like, get out there, hear people sing live, go dance. Like, I know that LA, I don't know if LA is doing it anymore or if they're doing it this summer, but they used to do like Shakespeare in the Park. And like, you could go see, I think Tom Hanks was in like Othello one summer. Like, you get to see these amazing A-list actors in these roles that like the shows are barely advertised. So like, if you do a little like deep searching in the net, you can find some really cool things. But yeah, anything that comes to the Pantages, because I know that they were revamping it too, so I know it's going to be really, really beautiful. And yeah, Camshaft, anything at the Hollywood Bowl, I'm literally hoping to go down and see that. Well, we'll see if what's his face shows up on time for Guns N' Roses, because who knows. Well, how have you been keeping busy during the pandemic?
Well, it's business as usual at Skybound. I guess business is more than usual with particularly with the Schmodown, just the kind of changes that the league has had to go through over the past year. I think super proud of everyone involved though. Obviously, the virtual era has its pros and cons, but just the fact that we got to continue to do shows and got to continue to have a season is a phenomenal kind of a testament to Christian and the rest of the team. So realistically, the work never stopped. So it's for better or for worse, didn't really have too much of a time to take any time off during the break, which is nice. I think it was good to keep busy, and it was good to continue to have things to work on and things to keep my mind off of things elsewhere in the world, for lack of better phrasing.
Well, with all of that vacation time that you've accumulated, and nowhere to go, since things are starting to open back up, what would be the one, like the place that you are, like, the next chance I get, I'm booking my plane ticket for this place. I'm gonna go kick back on this beach, or I'm gonna go to these mountains. Like, where do you want to go?
So I'll say probably step one is, and maybe we'll wait a little bit for parts of the country to maybe settle down and then hit their vaccination points as well. But I'm a big Disney Parks fan, so we haven't been to the Disney World Park in Florida for, I think, 5-6 years now. So I'd love to go and visit that again. And then it's been my dream vacation. I'm hoping that airfare stays a little low for a little bit, to do kind of a parks tour of Asia. So we'll do the China, Beijing, Hong Kong, Tokyo.
Yep.
So that'd be a real treat if that can happen in the next couple of years or so. I know some of those areas aren't quite safe yet, but keeping an eye on it.
It's one of those, like, when they are, when everything's fine. Yeah, I when I worked for Beauty and the Beast and toured with that, I was actually a Disney cast member, and I was like, I'm kicking myself now that I didn't take the chance to, like, during downtimes, go over there and get in for free, because I had a silver pass, and it was like, oh yeah, I'll use it eventually. Like, oh, my next vacation, I'm going to Europe, and then I'll like, I was in Europe and didn't go to Disneyland Paris, like an idiot.
I didn't know you were a cast member. What area did you work in?
Oh, I toured. I was a merchandise manager for Beauty and the Beast, the Broadway tour.
So cool.
And
wow.
So technically, merchandise is hired through Disney Theatrical, and because we were on the road 9 to 10 months out of the year, they were like, it was kind of one of those things of like, when you get a chance to enjoy life outside of a theater, here's your opportunity. Here, we'll let you have this silver pass. And it was amazing. It was so much fun. Like, we ended up flying into Orlando the morning of Epcot's 30th anniversary.
Wow.
And so like as soon as we found that out, like my manager found that out while we were on the plane, and like came back to my seat and was like, so we're getting the rental car and going straight to Disney World. I'm like, all right, like I'm a Disney kid. I'm not gonna say no to that.
Absolutely.
And he goes, yeah, but he's like, it's the 30th anniversary. So we like packed in, I think we ended up getting a minivan just for like the 2.5 weeks that we were in Orlando, just to keep like shuttling everybody back and forth to Disneyland or Disney World. And we packed 8 people into that van, drove down, got in parking for free, and then like checked all of us in, and we had the best day. That I've never felt the ground shake like that outside of California, because they used 3 times the amounts of fireworks for that day.
Oh my God.
It was amazing. Like we were in that one shop. You've been to Epcot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you've been there, so you know that shop. Like right when you come into the area around the lake with where you can drink around the world.
Mm.
There's that one like gift shop that's
Mm-hmm.
like all glass. I was in there and just you could see the panes rattling, and I was like, I don't know if this is the safest
Is this
place.
how
to
I
be
die?
right now. Like I think I'm gonna go outside. So now once we do start, once the world does open up and everything's good and we can start doing live events, are you going to be traveling with us and coming and hanging out?
I hope so. I will fully admit I'm probably less than useless compared to the rest of the cast and crew, like on an actual event. But Christian was kind enough to let me tag along for the Brooklyn event right before the pandemic hit, and that was among the best experiences of my life. So I hope as many opportunities as I can get. Probably pay for my own ticket. Don't tell him I said that. Maybe I can still get a free ticket out of this. But
It's okay.
probably worth it just to be there. So
I'll edit
I'd like
it
to
out
attend
later.
as many as I can.
Yeah, it's one of the live events are you can describe them as best you can, but like until you're there and in the room and feel that energy, like you just don't know, like it's just one of those crazy things.
You hear that a lot, but it's really tough to believe until you actually experience it. Christian said that constantly when we first came into the Skybound partnership. He was just telling all the Skybound people coming onto the Schmodown project, like, watch all the YouTube videos, get familiar with things, but you're not going to understand what this is until we get you out to Brooklyn to watch the show. And he was 100% right. That was life-changing. What an incredible experience.
Yeah, it's so great. Oh my God. So POV is coming over rating. Hey guys, I'm so excited. And Jill says, hi, Ryan.
Hello.
My sweet girl. For anybody who doesn't know, Certain Point of View is doing their 2nd annual Ladies Appreciation Night this Sunday. So come on by. Brian, if you want to, Brian or Jake, if you want to shoot me over that logo, I'll post it up at the end of the show tonight as well to remind people. But yeah, dude, the live events are so much fun. I'm so excited to get to go. And all like, I'm just trying to figure out where the first live event is going to be, because I'm hoping it's back in LA. I hope that's where it is, just because like I know all of the competitors are going to want to go, and like there's like so many of us here in California, so like LA just makes sense. But I don't know.
I know that is top of mind for Christian, is just whatever city ultimately is going to be the first live event. It's going to come down to the safety of the area and making sure that we can make sure all of the audience and the cast and crew are safe for whatever venue that ends up being. But I think that's the experience he wants to create, is just really feeling like we're getting the gang back together. We're starting fresh again. We're really infusing the league with energy again, and making sure it feels like an event and a celebration. So I think whatever city it ends up being, and personally, I'm with you. I hope it's LA because I live in LA. But yeah. I think anywhere it's going to feel like a party, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I also just want to meet the rest of like the Skybound crew that's been working so hard for us. Like I know because I know how hard like all of the Schmodown crew is, or how hard they work. Because I've seen it firsthand. I also know them firsthand. But like everything that you guys do behind the scenes that like barely even the competitors know about is so epic. And I just want to like get the chance to meet everybody and just, say thank you and hang out and have a beer with you guys. So
really good point, because the Skybound headquarters is in LA. So pretty much all of the Skybound team is in LA, not just the ones who work on the Schmodown, but the larger team as well. I think it'd be a great opportunity to kind of merge those two worlds even closer and let us all celebrate together.
Yeah. Now, what were you doing for Skybound before Schmodown came along? So I feel like we came in and you were like, all right, I'll take these kids. I got this.
It was a privilege, I promise. But a lot of what I'm still doing now, Schmodown is a huge part of my work week and a huge part of what I work on at Skybound. But I'm also very involved with the video games department and the editorial department and merchandise, direct consumer, and our other digital brands as well. So I'm kind of all over the place and have been since starting at Skybound. So it's always a ride, it's always a roller coaster, but certainly and no smoke up the Schmodown butt, but it's that's a real special one to me, and it's a real privilege to work on the Schmodown and be a part of this community.
That's awesome. Now, are you a big video games kind of guy?
It's probably a lot more when I was younger and had the time. I try to squeeze it in where I can, but it's always a struggle. But certainly have a huge interest in video games when I can find the time to pick them up.
What were your favorite ones? Were they like the first shooters, or were they like the problem-solving ones, or did you just like really like Tetris?
Growing up, I was a big Pokemon kid, so it's Pokemon everything: Pokemon video games, Pokemon cards, Pokemon pajamas, Pokemon anything I get my hands on. So that's persisted more or less into adulthood. I still play Pokemon Go pretty much every day. But growing up, I was obsessed with those games. I would get in trouble because I would hide under my covers and play them at night. And this was the era before the Game Boy Advance, where it had the backlit screen. So what I would do is I would turn on the flashlight really quick. I would memorize the screen. I'd turn off the flashlight and then play a little, trying to remember where all the things were on the screen, and turn it on a little bit, take another look, and just doing my best not to get caught. So that's how obsessed I was as a 7-year-old kid playing Pokemon Red.
That's intense. That's like training your brain to just become like completely just memory. What's it called? Eidetic memory.
If I had an eidetic memory, I wouldn't need the flashlight. So unfortunately, I was just trying my best to make a good situation out of a bad one. And I have a bit of an obsessive personality. So if I get attached to something, it's been this way for my entire life. I hone in and to the detriment of everything else. So when I was obsessed with Pokemon, it was like all I could think about 24/7 as a little kid.
Yeah, I understand that. I have a media obsession. Like I have massive amounts of physical media, and I never think I have enough. Like you want to keep me entertained for a few hours, send me to Walmart and put me in front of those massive bins that are like $3 for the DVDs, and I will have that thing organized in like an hour, and then I'll just go through and have like a stack of movies that I need.
Yep. That's the second floor of Amoeba for me. Just their Blu-ray section. Spent hours up there. Blu-ray collector, vinyl collector, book collector. So I'm with you right there.
I used to go to when I lived in LA. I used to go to Amoeba every Sunday because that was my church. I used to refer to it as going to church because I would just go down to Hollywood, and there was a used vinyl store on Cahuenga that I would hit up, and then I would go down to Amoeba and I'd wander through the second story of the movies, and then I'd go downstairs and look through their new vinyls, and then I'd go and look through the CDs, and I was there for like 6 hours probably, and then I'd like go and get like lunch or something, and then go see a movie at the Dome, which someone needs to buy.
Someone needs to sign. If it's I don't even care if it's AMC at this point. Someone needs to save the Dome.
Right? I mean, at this point, I'm just like, can we just all agree that the next person in California, or like even if it's not even LA, like if anybody in California just wins the lottery, like can they just buy that for us? Like, please, this cannot close.
I'm at this stage in my life where I'd rather Amazon buys it than for it to go under. Just someone please step in and buy this thing. Disney, buy it. Anyone. Like,
I would love for it to maintain its, you can see whatever movie you want there kind of feel. But if it turns into like a Disney thing, I'm not going to be angry. If Universal buys it, totally fine. Just keep it open and keep those events happening at it, because oh my god, those what was it when they do those themed screenings where like everybody gets dressed up, and they have that portion of the balcony like screened off, and you get to go up and like take a theme picture. Was it Rachel Cushing and Stacey Howard and I all went for the Downton Abbey one that they did. And we all got like dressed up like flappers and like went down and like took a foot. It was so much fun. They had like actors roaming around this like made up like living room set, and like somebody, like one of the actors got fired because he was like fooling around with some duchess or something. It was hilarious.
That's neat.
So much fun. And that's the things that you love about LA, that things like that will pop up.
I think the last thing I saw at the Dome was The Shape of Water, and Guillermo del Toro was there to present it. And I'm realizing now in retrospect, it would have probably been way more interesting if that was a dress-up event. Would like to see that.
I mean, it would have been fun. Just would have come in like 50s kind of gear. It would have been so much fun. I would have loved it if somebody had dressed up as the creature. That would have been really interesting.
I think that's the costume. You got 50 stuff is fun, but I want to see everyone come as their interpretation of the creature.
I'll put gills on the side of my neck for Sally Hawkins. I'll do that. But I mean, anytime anybody mentions Guillermo del Toro, it just like makes me feel like all warm and fuzzy inside, because he's just like the nicest dude. Like everybody that I've ever met that's met him is like, he's so kind and sweet. And then there's that story of the girl that he worked with, I think it was on Pan's Labyrinth, that was like scared, like Guillermo del Toro, like kind of like scared her a little bit because he was so much bigger than her. And he let her call him Totoro-san. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, that's cute.
So sweet.
If it ever comes back to LA and you haven't been yet, you should check out the touring Guillermo del Toro exhibition, where it's basically just things from his house that he wanted to show off, just things from his incredible collection. They did a recreation of this room in his house, which I might be misquoting this, but I believe he called it like the rain room or something like that, which is he has these fake windows inside of this room where outside there's a fake rainstorm happening, which helps him write and concentrate, which is just, if you're an eccentric millionaire, I think that's a route to go. It's a very creative route to go.
That's so badass. I mean, there's nothing I love more. There are a few things I love more than like a stormy day.
Mm-hmm.
Like a real, like, you don't get those in California either. Like the weather's always so like, it's like here. Mm-hmm. It doesn't vary too much. And that makes me sad. But like, I love me a good thunderstorm. Like when like the house shakes, like a Texas thunderstorm. Have you ever been in one of those? I
have not, but I'll try to imagine it.
They shake the house. Like the thunder happens right over and it just shake. Like it's so intense. It's so great. Now, have you traveled a lot throughout the U.S.?
I've done quite a bit of traveling in the U.S. I'm a little bit bereft on international travel for whatever reason. I'm hoping to pick that up, particularly after the pandemic and things start to open up again. I'm certainly behind on traveling to other countries, but I popped around the U.S. quite a bit. Way back when, in my teen years, I was like competitive in Taekwondo. So we would go to tournaments kind of all over the country, and I actually competed a couple times in Texas. There were the junior nationals were held in Texas for a couple of years. So I mostly during that experience got to travel around a bit and see some cities.
Well, that's pretty cool. Like, what was your favorite city that you got to go to?
I think it was I believe it was Houston was the last nationals I went to, which was a very cool city. Got to tour a lot, and especially in my teens where you don't get to travel elsewhere for any other reason. It's cool to just see a new city and be able to explore it a little bit.
Yeah, I remember being a teenager and just being like, oh, I can't wait till I get a car and I can go wherever I want, whenever I want. I don't have to wait for my family to like say we're going somewhere. Yeah. Were you one of those kids that like was just dying to get out, or were you like pretty content and like, well, things happen?
I was dying to get out. Not to say family life was wonderful. I love my family; they're great people. But I've always loved having my own space and having an ability to kind of just shape that space. So the moment I could get my own apartment, I jumped at that.
How old were you when that happened?
So post college, I think as soon as I got out of college, the smarter thing to do would have been to move home, not having a job or anything, or not having steady work at the time, and save some money or something, having that option available. But I got addicted to having my own space, so I made do on instant ramen for a while, just so I could make rent for a year or so.
Oh man, I remember being so broke in my early 20s living in LA. Oh my God, we had a 3-bedroom apartment. I shared it with 5 people, and rent was like $1,500 a month total. So it was like super cheap, but it was also in the Valley, so it wasn't like really in LA. It was in Tarzana. But God, we used to be so broke some weeks and just get by. It was, God, I do not have the fortitude to do that anymore. But like it was like looking back on my early 20s, I'm kind of like, how am I still alive? Like Probably
when I
should have
was
died at some point.
broke out of my mind in college, my favorite meal was to go to this taco stand nearby. They had dollar tacos, and I'd get 2 tacos and then like a stack of radishes this high, and that would fill me up for the entire day. It's just like it was not the best way to maintain my future health, but
Hey,
at the time it felt like a good idea.
you got your veggies in. Like that's commendable.
Fair enough. Maybe it was the healthy option then. Maybe that's the new
Yeah.
diet fad.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at Chapman University, which is down in Orange County.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly where that is.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I had an internship actually in Orange when I first moved down when I was like 20.
Wow, you've been all over the place.
Yeah, I know.
You said that so sadly.
Well, yeah, but
it's a good thing.
It's great, but it's one of those things that's like I can't go anywhere without having memories already existing for a place. So it's like it's really hard to like shake old memories and like make new ones. Cause like, okay, so perfect example. The last tour I was on was An American in Paris, and we were in Seattle, and our hotel was like a 20-25 minute walk from the Space Needle. And all of the, like, there was a whole bunch of kids on the tour that were like super excited. They're like, oh, we're going to go to the Space Needle. Do you want to go? And I'm like, in the last 8 years, I've been to the Space Needle like 19 times. Like I'm like, I'll walk with you because I know a shortcut. And I felt like a mom. I'm like, okay, you guys Space Needle. I'm gonna be at the Museum of Popular Culture right here at the base. If you need anything, let me know. Like,
you're at that stage where you've exhausted the tourist options, which is kind of cool. Now you can just explore the city and you can check out cool restaurants and bars and all the sites you wouldn't have time for if you're just going and standing in line for tourist attractions.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more interesting now too, because as sad as it is, a lot of places have closed down that are like the things that I love about some of the cities. And so it's going to be interesting to go if I do end up going back out on tour, or if, you know, I end up going to some of these cities that I absolutely love, to go and find new things that I love about the city. Cause like there's literally something in every city that I've been to that I'm like, I'm that person that will overhear somebody talking on their phone at the airport and being like, yeah, I'm going to like Jacksonville, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I hang up, I'm like, look, I don't mean to eavesdrop, but you're going to Jacksonville, you have to go to Burrito Gallery. It's in downtown. They've got another one further east. Like, you gotta go there. It's so good. But I'm like that with every city I go to. So it's like, it'll be interesting to see how everything bounces back after the pandemic ends, which I'm hoping is soon.
One of these days, you're going to overhear like a spy's conversation or something, get embroiled in an espionage mystery after recommending them a taco stand.
Oh, I hope so. It'll be so great. Oh, my life will just turn into The Spy Who Dumped Me, but without getting dumped. It'll be so much fun.
Some life goals.
I can't wait. I mean, I figure I could hang, but
we all like to think that. I think in our darkest fantasies, we're like, yeah, I think I could be a spy.
Well, I mean, that's why they make movies, right? To fulfill that, like, I mean, that honestly, as much as I love Keanu Reeves, that's why Keanu Reeves has a character, because he plays the everyman so perfectly. Like, he's such a blank slate kind of thing that, like, people are like, I can put myself into his character. And I think that's really fun. It's like the wish fulfillment.
Yeah, that's probably why John Wick works.
Yeah.
He's a elite assassin, world-class assassin, but he still feels like a guy. He just feels like a guy you would know. 3
movies of vengeance because somebody killed his dog. I can 100% relate to that. Like, I'm sorry.
That's
like, it doesn't even have to be the dog that like my dead husband buys me and sends me post-death. Like, no, you hurt my dog, I'm coming after you and your entire family. And now apparently the world. Yeah, I'm really excited for that 4th chapter.
Oh, I just saw today they cast a Donnie Yen, which is I didn't think I could be more excited for that movie, and yet I am. Man, that's gonna be the big one. That's I don't think I'm looking forward to anything more. I'm looking forward to John Wick 4.
Really?
That's probably the big one on the radar for me.
Yeah, I love that movie. I showed my mom the trilogy and then Hotel Artemis like in like 2 nights, and she was like, so when's the next one come out? And I'm like, welcome to my hell. And I don't know.
Does John Wick 4 have a release date? Did they put that back on the calendar?
I have no idea. Last I heard, it was like fall 2023, I think.
That's too long. I don't like that.
Well, I mean, you just said that they just cast somebody else, so obviously they haven't started pre-production yet. So,
what do they need? Just put Keanu on a set. He'll figure it out.
right? That's all we need. Can we just have Keanu? Like, we just like that would be like my favorite reality show ever. It's just a camera following Keanu around being Keanu.
Just called Keanu.
Right? Like he just walks down the street and stops and talks to a homeless person for 3 hours. I will watch that for 3 hours. 100%. He, wanders around New York and like just sitting on a subways. I will watch that. I don't care.
The Truman Show situation, just 24/7.
100%.
It's a new subscription service. It's Keanu.tv.
That's the new streaming
$9
service.
a month. Yeah.
Netflix will go bankrupt in a month. Oh my God. What was it? I think Frosty from Collider posted something about like how he's interviewing John M. Chu. I think today, and he was like, "Does anybody have any questions?" And I'm like, in my mind, I think we talked about this last week. We want him to direct the first musical dance movie, martial arts movie. And so I like tweeted, I was like, can you ask him when he's going to fulfill his life purpose to do that? Because I really want it. I think it would be rad.
That sounds incredible.
Stupid, and that it shouldn't work.
Speaking of Collider and things in LA, when are they going to get their IMAX series back up? Remember, they used to hold movie screenings at the IMAX headquarters, which were incredible. If you know Frosty, please ask him. I'd love to go to one again.
I would love to know. Yeah, I got to go to the Shazam one, and I got to talk. I got to talk to my future ex-husband Zach Levi. I love him so much. He's so wonderful. But like, they were like, okay, take a picture and move on. And like, there was something weird. They had to like switch out the camera batteries or something when we walked up to take our photos. And I ended up talking with Zach about musicals because he sings like. He's got a great voice. He's been in a few shows, and one of them that I got to see was him in this show called She Loves Me. It's really sweet. It was him and like Jane, what's her name? It's like Kershaw, Krakow. She was on 30 Rock. Anyway.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Blanking on the name as well.
And it's this beautiful show, and he sings so well, and he's just such a great actor. So like, we were talking about him doing that, and I was like, yeah, I tour with Broadway shows. And he's like, what? And he like got all excited. So we just like stood there talking musicals and Broadway shows and touring and stuff like that. And they were like, can you smile, please? I'm like, I don't think I can stop smiling after this. Like, oh my God. They like cropped the photo they took and sent it to my mom. And I'm like, does this look like a good engagement photo? Because I'm crazy. It's
incredible.
He was so sweet. Wow. Yeah, I would love for them to start doing those.
Last thing I saw there was Mission Impossible Fallout with my future husband, Christopher McQuarrie. I
fully support this. Yes.
Yeah, I would love to go. Anything they put back in there, that's a real treat to see it on their projection system.
Yeah, I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey like from front to back for the very first time at the IMAX IMAX HQ. Not my movie.
Okay. Agree to disagree on that one.
I'm like, I understand why people love it, but it's not a movie for me. And I also just like there are certain Kubrick movies that I'm just like, hard pass. I'm good. And that's one of them. But Joe, oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? They had the director of The Gray and Smokin' Aces. Joe Carnahan was there, and he did a Q&A afterwards, and then like people went down to like say hi and like take photos with him, and I was telling him how much I love The Gray, and he was like, you and my mom are like the only two people that love that movie. I'm like, good, we'll get her on the phone and let her know, because I adore her. I know Saul is very opinionated of the movies I like. It's fine, I get it. But we got to talk for a while, and I told him that have you seen Smokin' Aces? Mm-hmm. So I took my roommate Ryan to go see that when it came out, and I had to take him 3 more times because he didn't understand it, and I had to like explain it. Yeah, he was in it was a good thing he's pretty. Like,
I don't remember that one being too much of a mind bender.
I mean, well,
Twisty, maybe.
I think it was just the fact that there were so many storylines going all at once. He like couldn't keep them in track at the same time. And I was like, okay, look, we literally had to like go out to like, we went out to Denny's at one time and I like literally had to use like the whole like salt and pepper is this story, like the ketchup is this story, and this is what happens. And like literally reenacted the whole movie on our table.
Sit him down for primer and let's see what his thoughts are.
Say what?
Sit him down for Primer and let's see what his thoughts are. God. Have you seen Primer?
I have not.
It's a time travel movie, but it has like 80 billion different concurrent timelines because they're going back and forth and time traveling. I don't know if it's a good movie, but it's certainly a movie. It's certainly a trip.
I mean, I did mention earlier that I have no patience, right?
All right, fair enough.
Just he already got his one massive explanation out of me for my lifetime. But that sounds interesting. No, I love those movies that have like so many twists and turns going on in them. Like I just rewatched Angels and Demons, or not Angels and Demons. What was the first one?
Da Vinci Code?
Da Vinci Code. I just rewatched it and my mom was watching with me and she was like gasping and shit. And I was like, oh, you don't remember this movie at all. She's like, no.
Especially missed the book. I feel like everyone read that book.
Yeah, but it also came out like, I mean, the book came out, what, like 15 years ago?
That's fair.
Like, yeah. It's been a while. I mean,
I don't think I remember much of Da Vinci Code. That's fair.
I don't like to play the number game because it makes me sad and feel old. But yeah, I saw something the other day and I was like, that came out 20 years ago. And I like remember vividly the day it came out. And I was like, no, I can't do this anymore.
That's a tough one.
I think that's why I don't like movie release dates, because I'm like, it just makes me feel old.
I mean, my brain is still locked into, if you say something from the 90s, I'm like, oh, like a couple years ago. That's cool. Like,
oh, you mean 10 years ago? And not 30 years ago?
Yeah. Don't say that.
Yeah, I know. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, wow. Question.
I'm 37, so it's fine.
I'm a couple months out from 31. Oh,
you're still a baby. It's fine.
Thank you. That makes me feel good. I appreciate that. I'm out of that age where that's an insult. I'm holding on to any shred of youth I can take.
Oh yeah, no, I've been using the phrase "back in my day" for the last like 9 years. So, I mean, I've also been touring for 17 years. So, like in tour years, I'm actually like 96. So, like back in my day, it's always sad. We had these things called cassettes.
I grew up through cassettes as well. So. I still use CDs. I don't know.
It's always fun going through movies with somebody who's not of your generation and being like, "Oh yeah, you remember this? It was so good." They're like, "I don't know who that actor or what this movie is," and you're like, "Oh my god, you've never seen Clueless?" Like.
I don't know at what point that a Goofy movie turned into a retro movie, but I don't like it. I refuse to recognize that. I
just refer to it as a cult classic. Like nobody outside of our generation understands the love for that movie. Like, and I'm fine with that. So in my mind, it's a cult classic. Anything that's like generationally classic, I'm like, no, cult classic. Like it's not.
It's a contemporary classic for me, though. I don't.
Well, the fact that movies that came out in 1990 can technically be referred to as a classic movie at this point because it's been 25 years. Like, it just makes my heart sad.
I don't want to dwell on this topic for too much longer.
Yeah. Somebody called Fall Out Boy classic rock, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
So
like,
gross.
Oh
so
my
god. Oh, I hate that so much.
I'm like, oh my god, you were probably conceived to, my tongue is the B-side to your heart. Awesome. That makes me feel real good about myself.
Oh my god.
I know. Now, outside of classical music, did you listen to any other kind of genres, or do you have any? Did you go to festivals growing up, or?
I did do a lot of festivals. I mean, I listen to a lot of music, so I like a lot of different genres. Really into underground hip hop, things like Aesop Rock, things like that. I grew up on kind of that, since I was a '90s kid, that sort of grunge rock, industrial rock, kind of Linkin Park era led pop rock kind of stuff. So that stuff is still close and near to my heart. Linkin Park and AFI and Sum 41 and things from that era. I don't think all of it has aged particularly well, but it's certainly a point of nostalgia for me.
What was your first concert that you actively bought tickets to?
Well, I wish I could remember the venue because it was this tiny little place. They packed like 200 people into a room that should have probably had 50, but it was a Japanese noise rock band called Polysix. It was an incredible experience because that's a noise, like just the most high energy thing you could possibly imagine, and 200 people crushed into a floor that I think 50 might have been generous, but that was an intense experience, and that being my first concert I ever bought my own tickets to was very transformative.
That's awesome. I miss that feeling of just like being in a crowd and just experiencing everything at once with like complete strangers. And
last concert I got to go to before the pandemic was the Gorillas, the Forum, which, man, I went out on a high note, but I've been missing it. I need to get back somewhere.
That's one band that I have been dying to see live because I remember what was the song? Feel Good. That song came out when I was working at AMC when I was like 16 or 17, I think. And it was like the one song that I've ever absolutely loved being on like the movie, like the soundtrack that would play in the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they're called like movie tunes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like my favorite thing ever. It was on it for like 3 months because every month we'd get a new disc, and I was like, "This is the best." And then like the 4th month came along and it wasn't on. I was like, my managers were like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "The Gorillas aren't on this disc," and it makes me incredibly angry.
Surprised you weren't sick of it by then.
Oh God, no. Well, considering that they were playing like terrible of it, like one of the other tracks that was on forever was "Defying Gravity." Now, I love that song and I love the show. I love Wicked, but when you hear the same like 12 seconds Defying Gravity like over and over, it like starts to turn you into a homicidal creature.
That's fair enough.
Especially when you start hearing people trying to sing it too. All the time. It's bad. Did you ever go to like do you ever go to those like midnight screening, like quote along, dress up kind of movies?
I did The Room in college, which a billion years ago now, but we went to a Room screening, which they're all kind of like that.
That's awesome. I miss those. We used to have those around all of the time. Now, what are your favorite movies?
Well, if you couldn't tell by my friend hanging out in the background, certainly the Paddington films, I think, would take like a number 1 and 2 spot. Big Star Wars guy, definitely. Big P.T. Anderson fan as well. So I don't know. I watch a lot of movies, not to like, you're a Shmoda competitor, so I probably hold a candle to as many that you do. But I probably watch about a movie a day. So that's my main hobby and something that I'm very passionate about. Nowhere near the recall necessary to actually compete and even touch a competitor in Shmoda competition, but I enjoy them quite a bit.
I think that'd be fun if we got like some of the Skybound crew together and like just did a fun like mock match with you guys.
Do a pros versus Joes match. Maybe you guys get a handicap.
Be like, how close have you been paying attention? We'll ask you all questions that have been asked this season. Like,
maybe if we get multiple choice on every question, maybe we'll be semi-competitive.
We could do it. We could do it like we used to do the celebrity matches. We'll just like have like 2 of you guys with like a Schmodown Pro, and then like
that could be really fun. Maybe we get Robert back on for something like that.
Oh, that'd be so much fun. I mean, he should be at the desks for a lot of them.
Robert actually knows his stuff.
That would be a blast.
We need to get more people at my level, which make it a little more fun. Robert's a big movie buff. He'd probably do pretty well as a Shmoda competitor.
That would be interesting.
Would be interesting.
Ooh, I mean, and Christian loves like doing those like themed matches with like they used to do with wrestling and stuff like that. I think it'd be a really fun like wager match that we could do with them. That'd be fun.
If we get a Tom Cruise exhibition match together, I think Robert would jump at that. He is a huge Tom Cruise fan.
He just likes to watch him run.
Don't we all?
That's all it is. That's all it is. Although I did watch Vanilla Sky the other day, and it just like it took me out of it a little bit. So I was like, look, he's running around New York, and then I like got all nostalgic, and I was like, I miss New York.
That's probably the only reason you want to do that movie. It's the one chance I'll get to run here. Times Square.
It was, I think, still the most expensive scene in cinema history because
Is that true? Wow.
Well, the whole thing, like, think about it. They had to shut Manhattan down. Like, he goes on that drive and there's nobody on the street. There's no cars driving. Like, everybody had to be given like a stay inside notice. Like, I remember hearing from friends that like worked at the Broadway shows. They were like, yeah, we could not, like, I guess, like, I think Lion King had to like reschedule a rehearsal or like a put in something. Like, it was intense. Yeah.
All that for Vanilla Sky.
All that for Vanilla Sky. Way to go, Cameron Crowe.
It's a movie.
I mean, I liked it. I like that movie. I mean, if I'm gonna watch a Cameron Crowe movie, I'm gonna watch Almost Famous, but you know.
There.
Just give me William Miller. That sweet boy with that shaggy haircut. So sweet.
That's a great Letterboxd review right there.
I should probably start doing those. But it's such a creepy thing. They got the Times Square shot in 40 minutes.
Wow.
They only let them shut it down for an hour at 5 a.m. Yeah, but still, it's still like the most expensive shot. Yeah, that's nuts.
Jeez, they had to move, set up and shoot a shot in 40 minutes. That's incredible.
Well, I mean, he runs really fast, so.
Fair point.
They just had to make sure that the camera could keep up with him at that point.
You got a running start while they were setting up, and he just zipped past the camera.
He just started at 52nd, and by the time he reached 48, they were like, all right, let's go. He got that nice little head start.
I kind of want to watch Vanilla Sky now. It's rekindled something. I don't think I've seen that movie in like 15 years. I like to rewatch it.
It's so good. And it's got Jason Lee, who I absolutely love and adore. I think he would be fun to get into the Schmodown if we could snag him. I think that would be fun. We could have a match between him and Kevin Smith. That would be hilarious. But yeah, it's just, oh man. Okay, so you mentioned John Wick Chapter 4 being something that you're really looking forward to. Now, there are so many amazing movies coming out in the next, even like 9 months.
Sure.
What are some that you're like really excited to see?
I'm a big A24 nerd, so I think Green Knight is going to be one of my biggest theatrical look forward to. And I think in terms of the next, I think a few weeks at this point, F9, huge Fast and Furious fan. So that I can't think of a much better movie to kind of have a return to theaters for than Fast and Furious. And then way down the radar, I think it was supposed to come out during the pandemic, so I'm not sure when they rescheduled it to, but there's a Nick Cage movie that's supposed to come out where he plays himself playing his other roles, which sounds phenomenal. That's the most Nick Cage role I could think ever. I'm going to butcher the title, but it's like the staggering weight of genius or something to that effect. But it just the premise is incredible. Nick Cage playing himself, reenacting his previous movie roles. I don't know how you could I don't know how you could make a better movie.
Oh my god, that sounds like it sounds perfect. Like, because he's so weird and crazy, but like his movies are so much fun. Like I remember seeing the trailer at Comic-Con for Mandy and being like, this shit is weird.
Did you watch it?
I did. It's so intense. Oh my god.
Mandy.
It's my favorite movie to watch when I'm just like seething with rage, because I'm like he gets to live out all of my anger. It's so perfect.
Yeah, not far off from John Wick. Kind of like a hallucinogenic John Wick.
It's like if John Wick did a shit ton of acid and had like hardly any training.
Actually, Nick Cage in a John Wick. Why has that not happened yet? That's incredible to me that it hasn't happened yet. That's an obvious choice.
That sounds really great. Actually, can we just get John Wick and Keanu Reeves to do the actors on actors?
Oh, that's good.
Like, that would be fucking amazing. Just having really those two talk to each other. Let's book it, guys. Make it happen.
Here's a pitch. You got the Keanu streaming network, and you got the Cage streaming network, and then every once in a while they'll do a crossover episode. They'll just bump into each other at a coffee shop or something.
Oh my god, yes. Oh, that would be so great.
The future of entertainment.
Guys, let's take these notes down. Let's get these to the right people. Now you guys are doing some really, really cool things over at Skybound. I know you guys are doing. I remember getting some email from you guys about a potential fan cruise. Is that still in the works?
Nothing I can really talk about right now, but we've done fan cruises in the past, and it's something that the fans have really, really loved. We've done them for the Walking Dead in the past. So I think at that point, we're just sort of gauging the waters, pardon the pun, to sort of see what people's level of interest would be in something like that going forward. And certainly with the pandemic, kind of what people are interested in seeing or in terms of safety precautions and whatnot. But I would say I can't. I don't physically have the power to say we are or are not going to be doing that, but I would love to see that return. I think the fans loved it so much the last time we did it. I can't imagine that we'll never do one of those again. I mean, a Schmodown fan cruise, that's an idea right there. I've text Christian really quick.
I've kind of put that in his ear because I had a bunch because I toured on Warped Tour for 8 seasons, 9 summers.
Such a cool career.
Yeah, I feel
nobody can talk about their jobs with you because your career is too cool.
Yes, however, nothing has happened in the last year, so I feel like it's fine.
Nothing in the world has happened in the past year.
Right, but like I feel like once Warped Tour shut down, like a ton of people went to go work for this company called 6 Man Cruises, and they're the ones who do like the Jericho cruise and like the Rock Boat cruise and stuff like that. And so I've been talking with them, and I kind of got this idea in my head, and I was like, wouldn't it be great if in like a year or two we could like do a Schmodown cruise? Because like we've got so much talent that happens. Like we'd obviously have a karaoke night, like come on, of course, and then like obviously Ellis would have a stand up, and we have plenty of people that could open for him. We could do amazing like live streaming events on the cruise, like matches and stuff, and everybody would be there. It would be so much fun. I'm just like,
The best part about it, international waters. There's no rules in the Schmodown anymore. Street Schmodown. Schmodown Kumite.
It would be so great. We could finally do one of those 24-hour like have to defend belts. What were those called? Because we couldn't do that like normally.
That's such a good idea.
Oh, well, hello, Brian.
Oh.
Brian, 6 Man is who we Skybound work with. Yeah, they're great. I've been trying to get a job with them, so speak up. But yeah, they're
great.
Power
about Brian.
Yeah, they're literally like Warped Tour on sea. They're just like a whole bunch of like these crazy hooligans that are the best people at their jobs and just know how to have fun professionally, and they're just like the best human beings. So I'm really glad that you guys are in cahoots with them.
Small world.
Yeah, but I think it'd be really fun to like do a Schmodown cruise and then have like whoever like have a special like mini tournament leading up to the cruise, and then whoever wins that gets the belt, and then it's like a 20, like you have to be available 24 hours to defend it. So anybody can walk up to you and challenge you and instantly have to have a match. Like, I think it would be so much fun.
That's so funny. All right, let me ping Christian after this. Let's see what he's thinking.
He's gonna hate me after this. I'm like, you've let me sit on stuff like this for far too long. Like, I have a whole notebook full of ideas, guys. Let's get this done. But yeah, I've never been on a cruise. Have you?
Ever? Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I've been on a couple. I would say they're nice, maybe a little bit overhyped. I think the novelty of being stuck on a boat eventually sort of starts to wear off, but they're nice, they're cool. And I think having a theme would probably help a lot with that, of just like being there for a particular reason.
Yeah, I think just going on a cruise is one of those like, I just want to get away from everybody that I know and just be stuck with complete strangers and like go somewhere. That's fine. But like, I think with like the themed ones, when like everybody's there for one specific reason, like I think that would just like, I feel like it's just like a festival,
sure,
but with a guaranteed bed to sleep in, you know?
That's fair. Yeah, it's like a Comic-Con, but you don't have to worry about a hotel room.
Right? Yeah, like it's there. It's always there. Like you still might have to stumble from the poop deck to your room, but like whatever, like it's there.
It's an idea. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, I've done a lot in my life, but I've never like gotten to go on a cruise because like our touring schedule is so weird and whatever, and also, yeah, it's just. I think it would be fun. I think we should do it.
My bucket list is still do a Disney cruise for no other reason than to visit their private island. Which is it weird to anyone else that Disney has a private island? Like, how did we let that happen? How did we let Disney own territory?
I'm
That's
actually,
just
I'm,
one
I'm,
step closer to Disney country.
I mean, I'm actually just shocked that it's not in the shape of of Mickey's head. Like.
Just you wait. Once they figure out how, though.
Well, I mean, they
that.
can do it in Dubai. They can do it for the Disney island.
That's a fair point.
My sister and my mom have been on a few Disney cruises, and they absolutely love it. And I'm like, I remember when they got back from one of them, my sister messaged me, and she was like, they had Disney trivia. I'm like, that's adorable. I was like, how badly did you win? She was like, oh, they had no chance. I'm like,
oh, just imagining now on a Schmodown cruise, just the Schmodown crew rolling in and just destroying a trivia event. It's like ruining it for everyone else.
it's one of those things that I'm just like, I think it was in a bar in like some pub one night on tour, and they were doing trivia, and I was like, oh, this is just like shooting fish in a barrel. Like, come on, guys. This is just rough.
Many Schmodown competitors started like a B career as just going to these pub trivia events and just stomping.
we're just running a massive game of like we're just going around committing all these crimes, like stealing all these trivia. Oh yeah, we're professional guys. Sorry about that. We get pointed. It would be great if we walk in and like the host is just like, and from the Schmodown. Like, oh. Whoa. Cam Chef, did you say you went on the Love Boat? Like the Love Boat. That's amazing. That's so cool. Yeah, I've never been at sea. There's just something a little scary about that for me, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a big ocean person, so I think that doesn't help. And every cruise I've been on, at least one day they hit a storm, so that's doesn't really help the ambiance to me. Like, this might sink.
I mean, I know I can swim, but like it's kind of scary. When you can't see land, I'm just kind of like...
At that point, swimming doesn't really matter. It's kind of a negligible skill in open water.
Yeah, it's okay. I can float.
Fair enough.
Floating and swimming. Floating and swimming. Floating and swimming. What?
Sorry, I just want to ask you a kind of open question, just considering you've had so many different careers over so many different areas that you worked in. If there was one area of a new Schmodown league, for example, that wasn't movie based, like what do you think you would kill in? Because you've done musical theater, you've done bands, you've done like every kind of industry under the sun. What's your number two to movies?
Probably music.
Music trivia Schmodown.
Yeah. I mean, it would not all of music, but like I toured with bands for like 9 years before I toured with Broadway.
Oh, cool.
And that was it's still a huge part of me. Like, I love music. I love discovering new bands. I love the way that music like makes you feel and stuff. Like, I love everything about music, and like I love the stories behind music. I think is one of my favorite things. Like, I'm big on storytelling, whether it's like a movie or like a short story or a piece of music. Like, I just love being told really good stories. So I think if we did like a punk rock, like a 2000s emo post punk rock, like I think that would be so much fun.
That would be really cool. It
would be a blast. I mean, I'd have trouble like getting through and being like, oh wait, what summer was that? Was that the summer? Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. It's that my 20s are a bit of a blur in my brain.
Fair.
Like I said, I did 9 summers on Warped Tour. So I think it was 9. I still don't remember the correct number.
Maybe a miracle that you remember any of it then.
I mean, I have my backstage passes like somewhere buried, but yeah, speaking of bucket list, what are some of your bucket list items?
Oof. I mean, definitely travel. So on probably like half of that list, just because I don't feel like I've had a chance to really explore things outside of the United States, and that I think just visiting a lot of different countries is really, really high up there. I think aside from that, just really, not to be pretentious about it, but like creative things. Like, I'd like to finish a novel at some point. I'd like to write a screenplay. I'd like to do kind of things. I've had an interesting career, but nothing that really felt particularly fulfilling, just in a like artistic sense. So I'd like to explore that in my elder years of life, maybe. Like, put something out there that has an artistic stamp to it. I think that'd be nice.
What kind of novel or screenplay would you write?
Big question. I don't know. What kind wouldn't I write? What kind could I finish? I think is the better question. That's the real challenge for myself. We'll see.
Well, apparently somebody has our fear of cruises.
Oh, hey, Carlos. Carlos is another Skybound employee. He works in our games department. He's very, very
good. Apparently Brian is saying that he's roping him in. This is great. But if I'm getting paid, I'm down. Yeah, right? Like, it's one of those things that's like, oh, I'm getting paid to do this? Okay, fine. That sounds great.
That changes all the parameters.
It really does. Like, I went to Alaska in January for 3 weeks because I was getting paid to do that. Like, otherwise I'd be like, can I go in the summer instead? But
what did you do in Alaska?
It was with the Beauty and the Beast tour. We were there.
Oh,
wow. We had 2 weeks of performances, and it was in January. So when we got there was 4 hours of sunlight, and when we left, there was 5.
Oh,
yeah, it was real cold. Yeah, I think the highest it got, like the hottest it got, was like 5 degrees.
That's I'm a warm person, so that's I don't think I could do that kind of cold for any extended period of time. The thermostat hits 70 degrees. I put on a blanket, so I don't know if I'd survive there.
One of my managers used to make fun of me because it would like get below like six. It would get below like 60 or 50. Somewhere in there, and I'd be like, "Where's my hoodie?" And he's like, "Oh my god, you're so delicate." And I'm like, "Shut up! I have California blood."
People underestimate how much of an effect living in California has on you. I grew up in Virginia, so I know what winters are like, but I'm a California kid now. Like it's impossible for me to go back.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy for me to adapt going into different weathers and like different climates and everything, but yeah, dude, January in Alaska is not something that I recommend for the weak at heart. It is very disorienting. I remember waking up at like 10 o'clock in the morning one time and looking outside. Like there was like one cafe that was right near our hotel. And it was called the Snow City Cafe. Delicious food. But it was like 3 blocks away, and you have to like bundle up like the kid in like that book where like your arms just stick out and like you can't move. And like you would have to like shuffle across the very frozen, icy street very carefully, because if you fell down, you were literally not getting back up. But being outside and like walking at like 10 o'clock in the morning, it felt like it was 3 o'clock in the morning, because it was just like, it wasn't just like dark, it was still. Like there was no movement. It was crazy. I know it's a bit on the nose. It was Anchorage, Saul. Like, it's kind of touristy, but it was so cool. Like they have like city moose that wander the streets. It's pretty amazing. So much fun. Highly recommend it. Getting up to see there. It is beautiful.
I'll put it on the bucket list. I'll bundle up, but I'll put it on the bucket list.
Alaska is definitely a place I think that not a lot of people have ever like thought to go, but it's beautiful. The people there are really, really sweet too. And there's a really great, we held a cabaret for the, cause I mean, theater people, what are you going to do? We found like the one gay drag club in town, and it's called Mary's. And so we held a cabaret at Mary's, and it was amazing. We had so much fun. I was like, who knew that there were such great like drag queens in Alaska? In Anchorage for that. Like, it's so beautiful. We had so much fun.
What do you think it would take to get Christian to hold a live show in Alaska?
Oh my God. I mean, I know a theater we can use.
That's a start.
It's right across the street from a hotel that gives really good discounts. Just saying.
Like how I've spent half this broadcast just conspiring against Christian to make him do weird shows in weird places.
That's literally what my show was about at this point. I'm just like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if guys tweeted him? I'm actually surprised I haven't gotten an email or like a text message being like, hey, calm down. Like,
hashtag Snow City Schmodown.
Snow City Schmodown. Let's do it. No, I would love to do one in Denver. I think that would be a lot of fun because Denver is absolutely beautiful, and there's a ton of fans out there too. It's because it's hot, Brandy. It's so hot up here. I'm sorry. If I'm not setting up shop in Alaska, pop-up shop. Yeah, dude. Pop-up shop in Alaska would be so much fun. And I know Brandy wants us to go to Denver because that's where she is. But yeah, it's so great. I'm so excited. So okay, so traveling is definitely on your bucket list. Is there like an activity that you want to do? Like a lot of people are like, I want to run with the bulls in Pamplona, but those guys are idiots.
So I'm a lifelong kind of martial artist, and I've sort of fallen off of it in the past 5-6 years, just as life has gotten busier. But I'd like to kind of go back one day and earn my jiu-jitsu black belt. I think that'd be a nice accomplishment, just to sort of tie that together. I trained for a very long time, and it just kind of life sort of got in the way of those things. So it's always sort of in the back of my mind, just kind of weighing on me. I'm like, got to get back in there. So I think one day maybe when life gets a little bit less frenetic, I'd like to go back and eventually work my way up and earn that black belt.
What belt did you stop at?
Purple belt.
Oh, so you've got what, like 2 more belts to go?
Yeah, but that's
like purple, brown,
that's
and
probably
black?
like a 20-year journey. That'll take me quite a bit longer. Doesn't help that I'm not athletically talented, so I just gotta put in the time.
Better start stretching now. I gotta say, I'm really liking Carlos. I haven't met you, but I feel like we're already friends. I would love to say yes to Cancun, but I feel like Cancun is in the same category as Las Vegas and New Orleans, as in cities we shouldn't go to for the safety of everyone.
Talking about our liver safety, or
I'm talking about like health safety, freedom safety. I don't want anybody getting arrested on accident or on purpose. No, I think Cancun would be fun. I mean, if we're gonna go international anywhere, I think we have to go up to Vancouver or Toronto first. I think that would be so much fun, because I know we have a ton of Canadian fans up there. Also, Toronto and Vancouver are phenomenal cities to get to go to. I think it'd be really fun if they like timed it right with going to like Toronto for TIFF, like right around TIFF. I think that would be really, really fun. When is TIFF next?
One more text to Christian tonight.
One more text to Christian. I feel like every show at the end, I'm just like sending all of these ideas and being like, hey, what if we do this? What if we do this?
Pitch this to you. Maybe a couple years down the road, Schmodown keeps growing, keeps blowing up. Tokyo Mega Dome, 70,000 fans.
Could you imagine? Although, okay, so as much as I would love that, I feel like, so I've had a ton of friends in bands that like tour through Japan and all that, and like they've literally sent me videos of the fans, and they're so quiet and respectful. And I'm like, that's really sweet, but like that's not what this is about. Like, we need your energy.
I know exactly what you mean. I used to be a really big MMA fan, so I watch a lot of UFC events, and it's an American crowd, so you go, kill him, rip his head off, and then you watch the Japanese MMA events, and every time something happens, you're just here. And it's just silence in between. It was really jarring.
It's so quiet. Yeah, I remember somebody did a like a live like a DVD of like live in Japan, or like it was like a documentary of them in Japan, and they were like, we love the fans, they're so quiet, but we love them. And like they showed a portion of like them finishing a song and then be like, yeah, they like go out on a great power chord, and they're like, all you hear is like crickets. I'm like, oh my god,
that's tough. All right, we'll have to bring some of the Schmodown American fans then, keep the crowd going.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if we go to Japan, like, of course, there's gonna be so many people. Like, I haven't played a live event, but I've been just about all of them.
Wow.
And I'll be in the back, like, screaming along with everybody. So it'll just be like silence and like me in the back be like, woo! Like, hi, Rachel. Hi, guys.
Oh man, can't wait to be back in live events. It's been too long.
It's so good. I can't wait. I can't wait. Now, oh shoot, I just had a question and it popped right out of my head.
I'll come back. We'll just keep nerding out about Schmodown live events.
I know. It's so great. Who would be somebody that you would love to get to like host a live event or like come and play a live event who like isn't currently involved in the Schmodown?
Ooh, man. Maybe controversial figure. I don't know what people's opinions on this guy is, but I think Ryan Johnson would be a phenomenal personality for the Schmodown. I think just his like movie nerddom would be really, really fun. Like a Ryan Johnson versus Kevin Smith match could be phenomenal. I just like his personality, and I know he's a huge movie geek. Maybe like a Ryan Johnson Edgar Wright showdown. That'd be a heck
Ooh,
of a throwdown.
that would be fun. That'd be really interesting. I'm excited to get some of the players back that haven't played, like Brittany Young, because she's phenomenal and she's stuck in Alaska. Speaking of Alaska,
All comes back to Alaska.
She's been stuck in Alaska for like the entirety of the quarantine. I think she's still up there actually. And it was her birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Brittany. But she is one of those people that is like, she's so knowledgeable. Like I remember when she came in for her, they did a celebrity match with the girls from Glow. And she like afterwards apparently was so excited. She's like, this was so much fun. Like, can I come back and do this? And they were like, yeah, you can. And then she came back and had a match, and I got to talk to her, and we became like friends, and we made plans to go like on a shopping trip, and then COVID happened. So
that's so cool. I mean, I think props to Christian for the bringing some of those people into the league, and then props to the managers as well. I think like some people were worried, especially as we got more like celebrity talent within the Schmodown, that they'd be just kind of like stunt picks, stunt drafts. But all of them have been phenomenal players. Brittany Young and Chris and Kevin Smith, like they're all really, really good, and they know what they're doing. And I think they've proven time and time again that they belong in the league. And I think that's really gratifying to see.
Yeah, I keep trying. Every time I talk to Christian, he's always like, "I know, stop talking about it." But I want to do a Kevin Smith off versus Chris Jericho with Kevin Smith at the table.
That could be really fun.
Because like his match against Kevin Smith, he like Kevin Smith gave him Kevin Smith, and he's like, I know all about Kevin Smith. I'm like, that's adorable.
Be a redemption moment for him.
I'm like, that's cute, but you know what? Like, if you think you're that good, come and face me.
You're a wrestling fan, right?
I am a huge wrestling fan. Yeah, I grew up watching wrestling. My dad wanted boys, and Karma gave him 3 girls, and we all watched wrestling growing up. And I like I said, like I love storytelling, like the theatrics and the storylines of wrestling, like really got me into it, and it was so much fun. And so like when I heard that Chris Jericho was going to be participating, I was like, what is my life? Like, how am I participating in something that has Chris Jericho in it, and Kevin Smith, and Brittany Young, and Rob, or who are the other? There's just Paul Walter Hauser. Like, what's going on? Yeah, Brendan Meyer is a huge like I remember watching his movies and being like, that kid's so adorable. And then like I meet him and I'm like, you are 100% the purest human being I've ever met. Like he's just so sweet and cuddly and wonderful. Yes. Yeah, it's great. The love that everybody has for this. Doug Benson, thank you. Doug just had his first match and it's amazing. I do think that they kind of have a little bit of an advantage because it's like that is their life. Like,
sure.
Like this is like loving movies is our life, but like movies are their life. Like that is their livelihood. It's what they like. They're like the people that we get asked questions about in the Schmodown are people that they work with.
Sure.
Like it would be like if somebody came to you and was like, hey, do you want to enter this like trivia contest where we grill you about the people that you work with and you play against people who have never met them? It's like, yeah, you kind of have a little bit of an advantage.
That's fair.
But it's so much fun to get to see them like really like enjoying this as much as everybody else does. Cause like, I know when I love hearing how people talk about how they became aware of the Schmodown. So what's your Schmodown awareness story?
So my Schmodown awareness story is work. To be perfectly candid, I wasn't aware of the Schmodown before Skybound kind of brought them in a partnership, but I think immediately found a connection. I think the sort of vibe of the Schmodown, and having been an MMA fan for my entire life and a wrestling fan to some extent as well, just the energy and the concept and the just the framing of what the Schmodown was, combined with the fact that I'm a huge movie nerd, like it immediately clicked, and I was immediately excited to be a part of it and to be able to work on that. And then I think the turning point was really going to a live event in Brooklyn back in last January and just understanding on like a visceral, deep spiritual level, like what this was, and being addicted ever since. I think if for whatever reason I wasn't working on the Schmodown anymore, I was working on other Skybound projects, I would still be as big of a fan, because it's just a phenomenal experience. There's nothing else like it on the planet.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah, I mean, when it bites you hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I didn't even get like a notification, like, because you were made aware of it before the live event. Like,
Correct.
you had heard of it, you'd seen matches, like you talked to Christian about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I became aware of it because of a panel at WonderCon.
Mm.
And that was like a live event without trivia.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was thousands of fans crammed into this, hall, and people screaming, and like the lights went down and people got introduced with music and people are booing and cheering. And I was like, what is this? This is everything I've ever wanted in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, the Black Film trivia was like, okay, if you haven't gone back and watched this goes for everybody listening or watching, whatever. If you haven't seen the first Black movie trivia that they did 2 years ago, go back and watch it. I swear, I want them to release the unedited cut of that, because that match took us like an hour and a half to film, because we were laughing so hard throughout the entire match. Like, we were like just tears streaming down people's faces. Like, oh God, it was so much fun and so hilarious. Yeah, I love all the exhibition matches that they do too. Like, it's just, it kind of takes it back to the beginning of the Schmodown, where it was like less competitive and it was less how much can I memorize from IMDb versus like how much I love movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, it gets you back to that era of just the pure love that we have for cinema. It's so good. Plus all the smack talking back then was way worse than it is now. Because now we're a family show. I'm like, like we can't swear. You're killing me, Smalls. Oh God, I remember one of the matches when they had started the whole like, please watch your language. I was like, I swear like a sailor. Like, I've literally made a sailor blush with my swear words. So like, we're standing behind the curtain before the match, and it was like before we were getting introduced, and I just like let out this massive string of swear words to like get it out of my system. Oh, that's right. And I remember turning and seeing Andrew Guy, because I was playing against him. I just remember seeing his face being like, babe, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. I just had to get him out of my system because I know you're going to frustrate me. But he's like, I didn't know you had Tourette's. I'm like, I don't. I just I'm not supposed to swear on screen anymore.
Well, maybe one more idea to text Christian. We'll do rated R versions. Schmodown After Dark.
If they do, oh my God, they used to do what was it? They had a show on Friday evenings that was like an After Dark thing, and everybody would just come in and get like trashed and make like the worst jokes, and just like it was so inappropriate. But I'm like, that's what I miss. Like, I want to go back to that for a little bit, just like even like a one thing.
Well, we'll text Christian, see what happens. Do the cruise ship, we'll do Cancun, we'll do Alaska,
leave me out of that last one because he already knows. There's only so many things I can attach my name to before he's like, all right, that's enough.
Well, he's not allowed to block me because we work together. So.
Right. I, on the other hand, I can disappear. They did do 2 After Dark shows. Yeah, they were amazing. I would love to do a one that's like sponsored by like Jameson or something, where they're like, for every question you get wrong, you do a shot. I think that would be hilarious. But I wouldn't want to play against like Bibiani because he would just like plow through and I would just be blasted at the end of the show. It would be funny, but
is Bibiani a good drinker?
No, he's just that good at trivia.
Okay.
Like, he wouldn't miss anything.
He's got to pick one lane or the other.
Yeah. Like, I want to play against like Makuga Like, let's bring back Makuga for that, and I'll play against Flirt and Flouse. It'll be fun. That'd be a great one.
The true star of the Schmodown.
Oh yeah, he. Well, technically, he's the star of the FCL.
Ouch.
Well, he's not in the Schmodown. He's in the FCL.
Well, he pops his head in once in a while.
He does. I absolutely adore him. I mean, he was on the Den last season and won us some matches. So I love that little tuft.
Iconic.
I just want to swirl my finger around it. Just like that's all I want to do. Like, it looks like a Cupid doll and it's adorable. Sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to come back from that.
I was just remembering the music video that they did for the Flirt and Flouse, and it was just, God, it was so good.
Inspired.
It's just so great, so great. Yeah, I'm excited for the live events to come back, but oh, God, what was the movie that you've seen the most
Ever in my entire life? Maybe Speed Racer. I feel like I see Speed Racer like once a month. Not like intentionally. I don't schedule Speed Racer time. It just sort of happens.
It's just the movie that you just go to put on.
It's the one where, like, anytime anyone mentions it, I'm like, yeah, I do want to watch Speed Racer. I'd like to revisit Speed Racer. Whatever reason, I don't know. There's just it feels weird to say because it's like a children's movie and it's like bubblegum cotton candy, but it's so like dense. You can watch it and rewatch it and rewatch it and discover new things every time, and I really adore that movie.
Yeah, it's one of those movies I remember coming out and me being like, I'll watch it eventually. And then I watched it. I finally ended up watching it. And I was like, oh, I get it. It's fun. Like, but then again, most of my favorite movies are movies that people are like, what? Like that's a movie? And I'm like, yes, it's fine. Or I get triggered by I really get triggered by music to like want to watch a movie. So like if I hear anything off of the Empire Records soundtrack, I'm instantly like, okay, I need to watch that.
What's your favorite film score? Is there anyone that just really captures you?
Score? I mean, Braveheart is epic and so amazing, and like you can't hold a candle to the Middle Earth saga.
Sure.
Like all six of their scores are just beautiful. I actually listen to them before I go to sleep every night.
Every night.
It actually puts me to sleep beautifully. It makes it really hard to get through the movies though, because like it's one of those like triggering things. Like I hear the music and I'm like, oh, it's time to go to sleep. Okay.
You wired your brain. It's like, oh, sleep time now.
I have, but I love the movies too, and it's so great. But yeah, scores is one of those weird things that like I love them in the moment, but I don't find myself like seeking out listening to them for the most part. Like I'm more of a soundtrack girl. Because I feel like I love the way that, I love the way that a piece of music with like the lyrics can fit in a really weird and interesting way into a situation. Like there are times when I'll be like watching a movie or something and just like completely get distracted and go off and do something else. And then it doesn't hold me into it. But like if I'm watching a movie and all of a sudden like there's this really unique way that they use a song, either in a situation that I would never expect them to use that piece of music, or they change the music a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's good. Like I love the way that people play with music. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Have you seen Settle the Score? It's a show that Andy Merriweather and one of our old Schmodown competitors, Matt Nost, have put together, where they play soundtracks, and it's like a Schmodown type of game, but it's all music related. It's all
sound. Get me on that show? I think I do pretty good.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I do a lot better than I would in the Schmodown.
Absolutely, yeah, we can definitely. I think that would be fun as hell.
That's a cool show. I'm gonna check that out regardless. That's a really cool show.
It's super fun, and I think they just did one with Peggy Gubbins, who's on the Den, versus who did she just fight against? Guys, why am I drawing a blank? I don't know. Why am I? Anyway, they just had a match air today and it was all sports, or was that the sports themes that they did? But they did, like, I was in one with Disney songs.
Oh man, but you killed that one.
I actually lost because I was against Emma, and she's like so quick on the trigger. And I'm like, look, I know more about Disney, but Adam Collins, thank you. But she was just so quick. And so I think we wanted to challenge Mark Andreyko and Bibiani for like a musical off.
That's fun.
That would be so much fun. But yeah, they're doing some really fun stuff out there. Yeah, Settle the Score. Look it up. It's so good.
That's an incredible idea for a show.
Yeah, it's a blast to be on there. Yeah, sports themes they did a few weeks ago, and Peggy called them out because Peggy's amazing. And she's like, I got this. But that's one of the things I love about this environment too, is that everybody's so competitive, but it's like in such a fun way. Like nobody's like cutthroat or like kind of a douchebag about it. You know, like everybody's just really like, oh, I love this too. Let's have some fun. Like, let's see who knows more. And then like we just keep coming back for more and more and more and more.
It's a competitive show, and everyone is competitive, and because they care about winning and because they care about the victories and the championships. But at the end of the day, everyone just loves movies, so everyone can kind of just fall back on that communal experience. We just love cinema. We just love being a part of these communities.
I think it'd be fun if we all got to like go to a movie together. You know, like
very cool.
Like, I think that it would be super fun. There's just one time, just get everybody together who's involved. Like every competitor comes out. We all like we rent out it's the biggest screen we can find, because there's probably gonna be like 300 or 400 of us. Just everybody who's ever been involved. We get a family photo, and then we watch then we finally made Christian watch The Thing. Oh my God, yes. We tell him it's going to be something else, and then we just start the thing, and just he's sitting in the middle of everybody. We make him stay. Oh God, yes, maybe that's how we do it.
That sounds really fun. That'd be really cool. And I think even if the LA crowd as well, there's enough of us down here that'd be something really fun to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they posted that photo of everybody getting together like a few weeks, like last week or the week before. It was a whole bunch of competitors got together, and I was like.
You'll be here soon.
I'm like, I would have driven down for that. I have nothing else to do. But I am coming down for 4th of July weekend, so that's going to be exciting. Super fun. I have so many people to see and hang out with, and drinks to enjoy, and barbecues to have, because it's 4th of July, so why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. Well, guys, if you have any questions, I think we're going to close out in the next 10 minutes. So if you have any questions for me and Ryan, go ahead and send them into Streamlabs. The link is below. But until then, what's one movie that you love that you don't think enough people know about or talk about enough?
So I'm going to recommend a movie, but I do it with some parameters. I would beg of you, please, if you're interested in watching this movie, don't look anything up about it. Don't Wikipedia. Don't watch a trailer. You just gotta go on trust here, and that there's a process. There's a reason for this. It's a Japanese film called One Cut of the Dead. It's this horror kind of comedy. It's ostensibly about. It's essentially like a zombie movie that's done in one continuous shot. So like One Cut of the Dead, and there's it goes to places that are incredible, rapturous, but you will completely destroy it for yourself if you look it up ahead of time and accidentally spoil what's going on here. You just got to go into it blind and trust that it's going somewhere, and you'll be richly rewarded for it. That's my favorite movie to recommend. And please, for the love of God, do not look it up if you're going to watch it.
Apparently, it's on Shudder. So,
fantastic. Do it tonight. Right now, as soon as the stream is over.
If you don't have Shudder, I know they do a week trial, and I know that they've got some amazing stuff on Shudder. I used my 1 week for Halloween when I was studying up for that horror free for all, because horror was not my thing. But and I know I was out immediately, because I came on for a murderer's row of people, and I came in and I was like, well, it's nice to see everybody at least for this 3 minutes that's going to happen for these 5 questions. But
sometimes
whatever.
It works out that way.
But yeah, Shudder is great. What was the title again?
One Cut of the Dead.
One Cut of the Dead. I'm just going to.
I am begging you, please. Whoever is interested in watching that, don't look it up. You will be you will appreciate it in retrospect why
All right.
why that's the case.
I'm super. You said it's a comedy.
It's horror, it's comedy, it's a lot of different things. I would say if you're kind of squeamish on horror movies, it's not bad at all. It's not
Okay.
gonna scare you or keep you up at night. It's a very light, fun watch.
Okay, because there have been, and you said it's a Japanese horror movie.
So I guess if you
Yeah.
need subtitles, so it's if that's an issue for anyone, that might be a barrier. But
First of all, you should be watching movies with subtitles on anyway. Yeah.
with
See,
you 100%.
Eric. I guess I'm getting shouted for a week.
Good man, Eric.
Oh, I miss you, Eric. Eric, I'm coming down for 4th of July, so we're gonna get to hang out. Yeah, no, I remember when I first moved down to LA and was living in that three bedroom with 5 other people. We used to, one of my roommates loved Japanese horror movies.
Oh.
And would show them to me, thinking that I would enjoy them, and they just scarred me.
I'll be very clear. It's not like The Ring. It's not like The Grudge. It's not gonna destroy you.
He literally was like, "This is such a great movie. Sit down and watch it with me." And it was The Audition, and I was like, "What is going on?"
I don't even know if I call that horror. That's just a different experience. That's
like I said, my roommate was an asshole.
Bold choice to just be like, let's put a movie on. How about Audition?
Yeah. No, never ever a choice. They do some really great horror movies. Like, honestly, what was it? Battle Royale is still to this day like one of my favorite badass movies to watch. Like, it's just it's so rough and so good. Like,
if you're a fan of Battle Royale on Netflix, it's not the same series or anything, but there's a live action series called Alice in Borderland, which is very, very Battle Royale kind of vibe. It's really good, like a 10-episode first season.
Awesome. Oh, Eric's thrown in some suggestions.
Yeah.
Suicide. Yeah.
It's a big ask.
Woof. Oh ho ho. Looks like I'm doing something 4th of July weekend. This is cool in the fucking game.
You should check this out. That's a fun one. That's cool.
I mean, it's also one of those things. I've never been to the Hollywood Bowl. Like, ever.
In your entire life.
Ever. Like, I've been there, but I've never been there to see anything. Because
if there's anything available while you're down here, I'll take you to the Hollywood Bowl, because that's you have to experience the Hollywood Bowl.
I know, it's one of those things that's like it's like why I haven't been on a cruise. It's because tour life is so crazy and weird that you never know. I know, Brian. I know. You know what? We'll just make this like a skybound schmodown trip, and like everybody can get together. When you just take over the lawn seats and just like have a great time. I don't know what else to do, because it's one of those things that, like, my life has been so weird and has so many amazing things, but I've missed out on so many like crazy, tiny, weird things that everybody just considers like, of course you've done this. Every human has. And I'm like, no, I'm not a normal human. So yeah. Speaking of Elfman and the Nightmare Before Christmas Live. Oh, is this a ... Are you continuing this description?
Brian works in mysterious ways.
Well, I mean, what is that in your arms? I'm so intrigued. Is that a camera? Glove. It looks like a keytar, but like for video games.
Yeah, the old Nintendo one.
Yeah,
I think so. I might be misquoting that.
That's awesome. I haven't been to the Hollywood Bowl. I haven't been to the New Bev. Yeah, there's a lot of things in LA that I haven't done because
the New Beverly just reopened like last week.
It did.
Also go to that.
I'm very
hit up all the sites while you're in LA.
I know. I'm just gonna be a massive tourist all over again. It's so great. Yes, I get it. It's a power glove. Thank you. I get it. I was a little girl in the 90s. Everything was very gender normative. Not my fault. Okay. All right, so checking Streamlabs one more time. I don't think anybody sent anything in, so fuck it. All right, so I'm gonna start out by saying thank you so much for coming on. I'm so happy to have gotten to sit down and talk with you, and now we're friends. So I'm gonna harass you when I'm down in LA. It's gonna be so much fun. I like to close off every show by asking the same question. It's a quote from my favorite Cameron Crowe movie that we already mentioned. Do you have to be happy to write a love song? Do you have to be sad to write a sad song? What is it that you love about music?
Oh wow, that's a big question.
I
I,
know.
I think more than anything, and this is kind of ties back to what we talked about, the Schmodown and the love of cinema. But everyone loves music. Just everyone in the world loves music, and I think that it just helps, especially as times get more tumultuous and as things get a lot more uncertain, to just have something to fall back on. I mean, like we have one thing that we all love together, and that's kind of fun. That's kind of sweet. And there's no person in the world that you couldn't have a conversation about music with, and I think that kind of means something.
I love that. It's kind of like a universal language.
Hmm.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I had so much fun talking to you. Why don't you tell the kids where they can find you and follow you and all that fun stuff?
Sure. You can follow me on twitter.com/Ryan Matsu. That's the first four letters of my last name, Matsu. I also host a podcast called the Let's Write Podcast, which you can find us on Twitter at Let's Write Pod. It's like a screenwriting fanfic kind of comedy podcast. It's a lot of fun. And follow me in either of those two places. You can see what I'm up to.
That's awesome. I know I've got your Twitter linked down below in the description. I'll edit and put the link for your podcast down there as well. And then on my end, next week, I will be having Cameron Rice, the great photographer who has shot everybody in the Schmodown, basically. He's so fantastic. He'll be on next week with me. Haven't nailed down a time yet. And then this Sunday, guys, put it in your calendars. This Sunday, starting at 4 p.m. Pacific, they are hosting Ladies Appreciation Night again this Sunday, June 6th, 4 p.m. on Certain Point of View. I'm so excited. I will be on. I don't know what time, but it's going to be so much fun. There's going to be so many fucking amazing females participating. It's just so much fun, and just, just be ready to laugh. It's going to be a great, great night. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for coming in. And now I will see you guys next week. To get your shots, take care of each other. Let's get back to live events, guys. Live events.